Welcome back to In the Studio, powered by 100tv.com. Thank you for joining us for the premiere of our second season on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, guys. Remember, if you're in the need for dedicated servers or cloud services, to check out 100tv.com. They've got great products, great prices, and they make this show possible. We're back, and we're back on our regular routine. It's a small house here, though. We've got when we switch camera angles to our full crew here. We've got a David in the middle, and hey, David Parker, and we've got we got some trees, and we've got Brian. Yeah. What's up, boys? Welcome back.
The post-Roland era is already.
Yeah, our intern's gone, and we're left amok here in the studio trying to figure out what's going on.
The truth comes out. The interns are running the show here.
Yeah,
we're all frauds.
As much as we abused Roland, he was the backbone that kept us going. Yeah. LD was supposed to be joining us remotely, but some last-minute technical issues, microphones and cameras, and I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I know. What a dodger. What a dodger. So first up, guys, we've got some house cleaning. Lots of stuff has gone on in the past 3 weeks or so. We haven't done an episode. We did our post TI4 wrap-up, which was myself, Brian, and LD. That was where God's got to be a Dodger. And talk about some of our upcoming schedule.
When do I get to Dodge?
Yeah, seriously, when do we get to Dodge, dude?
Is it like paid time off? Is it like you have to like put in a request like a couple of weeks in advance? It's like, okay, so on this day, I'm
no, it's definitely a night. It's a night before thing.
Well, I know, but no, you got to schedule. You got to schedule your dodging.
That's the perk you get if you change your name to David. But until then, you don't get the unlimited Dodge card.
I have to schedule my dodging ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first things first, Parker is leaving us, and it almost felt like you weren't here because you haven't been casting.
I know. I got tonsillitis. I got better. Then I got paratonsillitis, and some other form of, I don't know.
Omnitonsillitis.
Yeah.
So your tonsils are inflamed, infected, and need to be yanked out? Is that the nature of it?
Pretty much.
What a bummer.
Fun times.
Fun times, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
But so you're heading back to Australia coming up tomorrow. So this is your farewell episode, the goodbye of David Parker until your return is planned, not planned. What are we working with here?
I don't know. I'll be around. I'll be co-casting remotely some.
He'll be around.
Be around in spirit.
Better be. With Ben in Korea, we're lacking on the analysis.
Yeah, our in-house analysis is. It's me and Blaze. We're carrying the show right now, man.
I know. You guys are doing a good job.
Blaze has been fun. I'm finally getting him to laugh. I was like, Blaze, listen, you're doing well, but you gotta lighten up. I can't get you to laugh, man. He was like, okay, I'll try something a little different today. You know why they call it a dataless? Because one crit and you dead.
Wow.
Shout out to Blaze for giving me that one. Thanks. Come on, guys. That's pretty good. For a Dota joke, that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
Oh, man.
That's a dad joke.
Yeah. But
I like a good dad joke.
A good dad joke. There you go. So, in other David news, Parker's leaving us, but Gorman's coming back. A week from today, LD will be coming back, California side. He won't be here for the In the Studio. We'll be a little creative next week. It'll be Brian and I holding down the fort.
Got this.
We have some plans, but it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. But then LD will be back in full swing. He'll be casting, and just in perfect time because Star Ladder is easy right now, but it's going to get crazy coming up in September when the other regions kick in. I don't know if those dates have been officially announced, but September will be a very busy month in terms of Star Ladder coverage.
New teams in action.
Yeah, all the new teams, very exciting. The other bit of housekeeping that isn't keeping that isn't really news anymore. Merlini in Korea playing temporarily with Zephyr. People have been asking me all sorts of stuff, and I actually don't know too much about. This was when I got an email that said, "Hey, have you heard about Merlini?" No, what's wrong with Merlini? He's going to Korea. Oh, okay. For how long? I don't really know.
He's there. Okay. He's there as I guess you could say a stand-in for just one season. Like he's not.
So approximately.
KDL season 3. So when that's done, he'll be
like he's like officially in Zephyr, but at the same time he's a stand-in. Like he's not there to permanently join the team and look for like let's compete towards TI5.
So when does KDL season 3 wrap up? Is
I think
like
around
end of October,
early mid-October maybe.
Are
they're not doing well, so they're not going to be in the finals. They won their first Tier 1 game the other day.
Okay.
So really? Who against?
Against Rave, I want to say.
That's the JO team, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's another of the non-Korean well, the non-Korean teams that are actually playing Korea.
It's the 4 Southeast Asians plus JO, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe so.
Filipinos. And JO himself is Filipino, so.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like Filipino American.
It seems like the hardest part about him as a stand-in is having to shuffle the rosters because I know he didn't want to play support and now he is playing support.
First game he was playing mid, and then it didn't go too well.
Yeah, nobody wants to play support. That's the problem. They've got too many mid players.
Yeah.
Like
so he's been playing mostly support lately.
Nobody wants to play support. Everybody wants to win. That one.
Exactly. That actually is like the motto of Zephyr right now.
Quote in an announcer pack.
That's good.
Yeah. So who knows? knows, I actually haven't talked to him. Somebody asked me, how's Merlini like in Korea? Honestly, I have not talked to him. Has anyone talked to him? Skype,
really,
text,
no.
anything? I hope he's all right. I hope it's all good. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I saw him on... Yeah, I saw him on KDL a few times. That's it.
The only info I got about him I shouldn't repeat, so...
Oh, yeah.
Brian knows what I'm talking about.
All right, well...
He's suffering. He's a bit sick at the moment.
Only.
Yeah. He does have an ailment right now, which we're not allowed to talk about.
Okay, well... You guys can theory craft as to Merlini's medical issues. Next up on BTS house cleaning, David, everyone wants to know what went wrong. TI4, you were not a fawn. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. What's the skinny, sir?
I didn't know I was going to be called out on that. Gosh, no.
You read the document.
It's a document. There's a document? Like, what is this? This is news to me. No, I was ready. I took my wig. I took the little ear things I had to go with it, and the rest of the costume was being shipped to the hotel. I don't know.
Apparently got caught up in.
It apparently got caught up in Oz Post, but at some point I'm just like, fool me once. You know, there's a saying.
That's something about getting fooled.
There's a quote which George Bush once said. I don't know.
Yes.
End of the day, shame on me. The person who I kind of commissioned to do it kind of screwed me over there. So
yeah.
End of the day, it's like twice now, so it's kind of my fault by now. So
yeah. But there were some good intentions.
I'd like seen pictures, like she'd done the wig.
When were you planning on doing it? At the after party or on the panel, or what was the actual plan of execution?
I don't think I would have. I maybe could have like made an appearance on the panel, but it wouldn't have been like a permanent thing on the panel. I wanted to just like.
Just
be
show
in
up.
It, walk around.
Oh, okay.
Like it was more like a around
during
the
off time
kind of a lap around the stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
The victory lap.
Yeah. So no, I was totally on board. I was actually really excited to do it. So.
Okay.
As excited as someone can be to dress as like a female centaur wizard chick. So
yeah, I know LD's run out of things to hold over your head, and he's like, I don't know what to threaten him with anymore. I already threatened to fire him, and now I don't really want to fire him. So what do I do? He called my bluff on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. At some point, I'm just like, seriously, like I want to do this.
Nova Scotia for like 2 weeks, and that was
Newfoundland. I got screeched in. I was like practically one of the newfies.
What does that even mean?
Oh,
screeched in.
It's you got to be a newfie to understand.
Do I have to watch Trailer Park Boys to understand?
Yeah, it's pretty much like the Antarctic equivalent of that.
Okay.
The Antarctic equivalent. Trailer Park Boys, but more snow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's somewhere there, but it was still cold.
Fair enough. So we've got two more things for BTS house cleaning. One, the Chroma Collection, guys. We designed the shirt. You get to pick the color. It's pretty exciting. We want to start more with the merch. A lot of people have asked us about just BTS garb in general, and well, we're working on baby steps here. So it's a pretty simplistic design, just a big BTS logo on the front. They're all dead on the back, and it's available at teespring.com/BTS Chroma. It's been linked all over our social media, and you can check it out. It's a pretty cool concept, though. Brian found it, and it's sort of like crowdfunding meets merch sales, where we vouch, say, okay, we want to sell 150 shirts, and you get a cheaper rate based on how many shirts you sell, but you don't actually get charged unless we meet the goal. So it's kind of this cool, you get awesome shirts, and you can pick whatever color you want. Look at it. We got pink and gray and blue and burgundy and all the other colors I can't see. They're all dead. So they are, what are they, $18, Brian?
$18. It's pretty good.
American Apparel? They're legit
American Apparel,
shirts.
They're good shirts. They've got a lot of sizes. Like you can go between extra large all the way up to 3XL.
And it ships internationally. Which is the other thing. It's
kind of expensive to
pricey.
ship internationally, but if you want to do it, you can.
Yes, it's cheapest to ship domestic in America, but it does ship to Canada and Europe and all.
$18 is pretty cheap for a shirt, so
it's really cheap. That's actually I wanted our first thing to be this kind of like cheap, relatively minimal T-shirt design that everyone could kind of like get in multiple colors and not be super expensive. Because a lot of times, if you want to get merch, it's like $25, $30 for a T-shirt. I mean. Our next one might be like $22 or $25, but I want our first one to be simple, cheap, and affordable.
Good initiative,
Test
Brian.
the waters, get our feet wet. Yeah, exactly. So check it out, guys, and we're kind of gauging the response on our first experiment here with how we want to handle merch sales in the future. So if you like it, please let us know. Last, but certainly not least, LD surprised us with an item set. I didn't really even realize this was happening until it's totally in the workshop.
He talked about it a while ago. Yeah. I was like, I knew it was kind of in the process.
I thought it was more just an idea of just like, oh, yeah.
I didn't realize it was something done.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think it was like this close close to completion. Kunkka, of all people, the one and only Kunkka, has made LD a Gyrocopter set. It's still in the workshop. It was just released, so it hasn't been released into the game yet. But here it is
with the kitty face.
With the kitty face, yeah.
No, with that, it's not. It wasn't just Kunkka's working with another person.
Oh, it's not.
His nickname is just a little kitten face.
Oh, okay. And kitten face. That's cute. I get you. And LD's new logo. It's
yeah, I like it.
It's cool. It's very fluffy. So yeah, check it out if you like the Gyrocopter set. Unfortunately, Gyrocopter's not really in a great place, but not a good time for a gyro set because gyro sucks and nobody plays them.
I'm all about like the sets
Silent Copter.
Yeah.
Sets for like unconventional heroes there. I like that.
Saw him kick ass with it the other day.
Sorry?
I saw him kick ass with it the otother day. It's good.
Yeah, I saw Gyrocopter today. E-Blade is not very effective on Gyrocopter. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again.
What?
It's just, I mean, E-Blade Gyro. Saw it earlier in Star Ladder SEA, and I don't know how effective Gyrocopter in general, but he's in a rough spot right now. Yeah, that 30-second flat cooldown just like. He's gone. It's gone. Poor Gyro. The only thing he's really good at is a lot of damage in the first few levels. Yeah. He can solo kill offlaners.
Best hero level 1.
Yeah, best hero level 1. There you go.
Solo you pick Gyrocopter to go boots first and kill people. That's how I see it.
So moving forward here, guys, most of the news over the past 3 weeks has really revolved around tournament announcements and roster changes. So we're gonna go through.
Oh, there's an Ace Alliance scandal.
Yes, that is some news, and that's our discussion.
What did they do now? Like they haven't done anything. How can there be a scandal when they haven't done anything?
You're jumping ahead, gods. All right.
I'm just reading the screen.
They've done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. They owe a lot of money and haven't paid it. That is a scandal if I've ever heard one.
WPC. Well, kind of Ace involved, but
you heard it here, guys.
All right.
Host on the
you
show
strike me as the type that hasn't read all the.
I just wanted to. I didn't hear about any scandal. I feel like if it was the whole idea of a scandal is that people are aware of it. I was not aware there was a scandal, so...
Well, maybe if you'd come out of your room and stop playing Dota, we could do... This guy's been doing nothing but fiending. What are you after? Did you break the 6K mark? He's climbing the ladder.
I was one game away, and then it was like a... crash and burn.
Ouch. It's rough. Yeah. It's rough. So, but the only piece of news that is, aside from roster changes and tournament announcements, is the workshop tools. Custom games.
Oh, yeah.
Coming into Dota. It's still in the alpha phase, so it's still very early on, but isn't it kind of ironic to see a custom map from Warcraft 3 now becoming its own game, spawning new custom games? Is the next Dota 5 years from now, 10 years from now, going to be a custom game that spawns from the original of the custom games?
We're
going full meta here, guys.
We're going to be doing like the custom Dotamon, Pokemon
games
in 5 years. That's going to be the eSports.
My favorite is going to be the Warcraft 3 mod inside Dota 2. So you could play like the Warcraft 3 melee in Dota 2. I saw someone post a screenshot of something like that with like some little peons mining, and I'm just like,
just play the Frozen Throne campaign. You're playing as a Baden.
I saw somebody was making Pokemon. I saw Magikarp. There were a couple other
Footman Frenzy.
Footman Frenzy.
That was how I started Warcraft 3. I played competitive Footman Frenzy.
I didn't realize that they had a competitive circuit for Footman Frenzy.
It wasn't a very big one, but there was one tournament which had a $100 prize, but everything else was just prize.
Okay.
I won $100 split between 3 people.
Well done. Well done. I'm sure that was worth all the hours of grinding Footman Frenzy. What do you look forward to? What were your favorite custom games from back in the day? Were you ever a Warcraft 3 custom map kind of guy? That was before the Brian era.
I'm from middle of nowhere, man. I never owned Warcraft 3.
Never exposed to Warcraft 3?
I didn't have a gaming rig until sophomore year of college.
I pity
4
you,
years
sir.
ago.
I pity you.
Actually, I am super old school. I just wasn't in that I played TIE Fighter for Windows 98 with an old school joystick. The old almost had to play an MS-DOS version of TIE Fighter. That was a legit game, and I played that. But then I had my family decided video games were bad for your brain.
Harry Potter and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't read Harry Potter either, so I had a lot of issues, and so I didn't really get to play Warcraft 3 much.
Well,
I got into it later.
Tower Defense will be fun.
TDs are fun. I really liked Angel Arena. That was the first custom map that I always would pick the axe model guy, the Blade Master dude, and because he had mirror images and just run around and kill people. I loved it. I don't know why Angel Arena. It's a weird concept, but
it's good because you can get burned out just playing Dota game after Dota game. So that was the great thing about Warcraft 3. Even if you're just playing on Warcraft 3 like Dota, it's I just played 5 games. I'm kind of on tilt. I'm raging a bit. Let's go play a chilled, laid back tower defense or whatever it may be. So it's just nice to kind of break the repetitive. I mean, not that Dota's repetitive. Every game is so unique.
It's not even repetitive as much as just sometimes I'm not in the mood to try hard. It's like I want to play a game that's not it. Dota's a really try hard game. Urgency, and there's always you have to be in the zone. And sometimes I just want to kick back and micro a little footman around and just YOLO them into a base and see what happens, and not really care if I win or lose. You know.
Yeah,
From Valve's point of view, it's great because it means people are staying on Dota 2. Like, because otherwise during those breaks, it's like, hey, let's go play a different, like, load up a different game, Hearthstone, Counter-Strike, whatever it may be. But now it's like, oh, they're still playing Dota 2, just another little custom game. And also, Valve didn't even have to design those custom games. Valve are geniuses. Like, this whole model is like, I mean, not that it's not their model. Like, end of the day, that was something that Warcraft 3 started. So
the difference is Warcraft 3 didn't make any money off their custom games.
That's the thing. Like, Blizzard could have made so much money off of some of their.
I mean, Blizzard could have made a lot of money off of Dota.
Yeah, Blizzard.
Exactly.
Dota was made on their engine. I mean, come on.
A lot of these other ones.
They snubbed Dota.
Copyright.
We're just busy playing Starjeweled, man.
Starjeweled.
Man, I got into StarCraft 2, kind of like.
I've played some Starjeweled.
Like, as soon as it came out, I started playing StarCraft 2, and I was playing some custom games, and like StarCraft 2 just never.
I did not like
Storm of the Imperius.
Yeah, the nature of the custom games on StarCraft 2. I don't know what it was. It just didn't like it. It didn't have a good feel. I don't know. It's too futury. But let's talk about some of these big tournaments because there have been a lot of announcements. We'll run through them reasonably quickly here. Two big ones in Asia. WEC, a $160,000 land. That's a million won in China. That's what the translation comes down to. But that's coming up really soon. That's actually September 5th. Through 7th, and they had to cancel the online qualifiers for America and EU because of the roster changes. That's the funniest part about the WEC story is
they couldn't get enough teams.
There are no teams. They're like, all right, forget about the qualifiers. Let's just invite some of these top teams, and in those invites included a mystery team, e.g. Cloud9, Newbie, and we have a team, and they're not ready. So
they could have a better name than mystery team. Like there could be a name. Like they
is
could
this
call
the Western mystery team, or is this
the Western mystery team?
Okay.
It's like it's the rumored to be. Puppy, Koro, Fly, No Tail, plus someone else.
It's part 2, man. Come on now. But yeah,
potentially.
We'll talk about all the rumors coming up in the second part, guys. But
they could have a much better name.
Yeah, certainly.
They could have called themselves something.
Well,
because they've been talking to these organizers. So
just have a team name there, which everyone's like, oh, who's?
It could have been really like mysterious.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead, they sound like they're in a van in the 70s right now, with a talking anthropomorphic dog.
Well, Titan was the other team that qualified through the SEA open bracket. The weird thing about the WCE qualifiers, though, is it's all best of one, even the finals.
Maybe MVP in the finals, I think it was?
Yes, I believe that's the case. MVP was in it. It was either the semis or... Yeah, it was the finals, but they're just the best of one.
Originally, the first round of the playoffs, which were single limb, were going to be best of one. And I remember our friend PPD, like
I love PPD.
Not being so happy about this. Like, we're going to fly all the way to China.
PPD keeps it real.
And then play one game and then be done. And so
that's loser talk. You just win that game. Like, come on.
Still,
but it's a lot of money, and it's one game of Dota. Like Dota is not a best of one game. Like,
what even say you're just not like it's expensive to get people there from America / Europe.
Yeah, you're gonna fly them out there and
for one game. Just seems like you're not really.
Even for one BO3, it's.
But I think
it's kind of crazy.
I'm not 100% certain it's changed, but I'm pretty sure it's to best of 3 first round now. Thank God.
Yeah, that was. I think
that would be awful.
I remember Mali tweeting something because he tweeted that and Mali like corrected him. It's like, oh, it's gonna be BO3, but
right.
Mali's a guy who knows his shit most of the time.
He knows what's going on in the Chinese scene for the most part. The other big Chinese tournament is WCA. I know it's WEC, WCA, very confusing, but this is the one with 3.2 million in prizes across 7 different games. The real kicker, 2 of them are mobile games, which is mind-blowing. Each of them have 1.1 million in prizes. One of them is called Dota Legends. I tried to do some research. I found a video. We might be able to pull it up and play a couple seconds of it. Mute the audio because it's really loud and obnoxious. But it's Chinese only. It's not available in America. Although it's Chinese advertising, and it looks sort of like a turn-based RPG. It reminded me of like almost a Final Fantasy.
This is Dota Legends.
This is this mobile game called Dota Legends that is part of the WCA.
Is it ripping off a lot of like the Dota ad, or is it just?
I'm not. I couldn't really tell when I pulled up the video and took a look at it. We'll pull it up in just a second here, guys. But it's kind of...
That's a Magic Stick. I saw a Magic Stick.
Yeah, so I don't know...
like Dota 1 icon from Magic Stick.
I don't know how... It's like loosely based, but yeah, see, there's a Wind Ranger. That looks like...
Actually, I want this.
There's a Lena.
There's probably really terrible microtransactions in game, but I want this.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how it works.
Level 7 Lena? It's like leveling up some skills here?
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know, like, rights-wise, is this just something that a Chinese company ripped off and just stole? Is it something they have rights for? I don't know. I couldn't find much info about it, to be honest.
Dota, like, as a concept, doesn't really belong to anyone. Like, everyone has their own kind of Dota-y maps, I guess.
Dota is a state of mind.
I like that. Dota is a state of mind. That's the next T-shirt.
And it's China, so.
And it's China, yeah.
They're the ones with the big Blizzard theme park that Blizzard got absolutely no royalties for. So.
Yeah, about that. I don't know. So the Dota prize pool for WCA is still pretty big, 470K. Nothing to scoff at.
US dollars, or is that?
That's US, yeah.
Okay.
That's
nothing $470,000.
Nothing to scoff at, but that's half of what the mobile prize pools are, which is that's why I'm saying.
I don't think you have to compare though.
You don't have to. I'm just trying to put this tournament in context.
They got money.
Yes, $1 million prize pools for the mobile games. Dota is a measly 470. So still nothing to scoff at, but in the context of this tournament,
I'm guessing
there's a Warcraft 3 tournament.
That's like dev money is going in.
There's a Warcraft 3 tournament.
There's a Warcraft 3 tournament is included.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's also Hearthstone. I'm forgetting the other games now. Those are the big ones that I pay attention to. I know Hearthstone and Warcraft 3.
Crossfire.
Crossfire. I don't know much about.
I think it's just
that's pretty big in SEA.
Popular SEA shooter.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. WCA, though, is being rather mysterious about the dates, the times. We don't really know a hell of a lot. They sort of, in one post, said October sometime.
I mean, that's kind of the same with like WEC and iLeague going on. Like, there's qualifiers every night, but no one really knows the schedule, who's playing, what's going on.
I started to poke around and couldn't find too much info, so it's coming up, but who's playing, when are they doing it, how are the qualifiers going to work, we have absolutely no clue.
Also, okay, just going back to the whole mobile games idea, is it like, are they going to like come on stage and like have like their Galaxy Notes and just be like,
dude, that's part of the like the crazy of like $1 million mobile tournament.
I mean, it's not that different. If you watch any of the Pokemon World Championships that were going on, they were up there with their 3DSs, you know.
Okay.
Like,
I didn't really. I knew it was going on, but I didn't watch any of it.
So I guess it's not that much different than like having a cell phone out. I want one guy to come up with like a Nokia flip phone.
He's got his gaming phone, and then he's got his real phone that's like the old school flip phone.
That'd be awesome.
Be pretty good. The last and big tournament announcements, ESL1 announces New York. They're coming stateside, baby. Madison Square Garden.
MSG.
Woo! Coddle guy was all pumped up. He said, I can walk to a big tournament for it. This is going to be awesome.
Having tournaments in your home city is pretty cool, I gotta say.
It's a $100,000 prize pool, October 9th through 10th. The big complaint, though, is singleton Chinese team. 3NA, 4 EU, 1 China.
Yeah, I think the 3NA is good because it's based. I mean, I think ESL's reasoning is it's based in NA, so they want to offer more slots to NA.
It's also cheaper too.
ESL is a European, Western-focused organization, so they're going to have a number of European teams. They also the kind of popular. They're the ESL fan base, and then. How many slots does that really leave? I think at most you could do two Asian slots.
I think 332 is probably more what people were expecting.
I think the main thing is that like I think that people get a bit upset is that once again SEA gets snubbed. Like they're often kind of getting left out of these things. It's the SEA scene as a whole is just constantly
it's a struggle.
Getting the rough end of some of these tournaments.
Yeah.
I
we'll see.
ESL also didn't want to have an all Chinese grand finals.
They didn't get it last time though.
Oh. I know, but.
After seeing the TI4 aftermath, they wanted to avoid that for sure.
As much as like,
like
I love the grand finals with TI. I know, well, and maybe not like the teams. Maybe like the gameplay was a little anticlimactic. But
Good
like,
God,
I was fine. I was fine with the teams there. But a lot of fans have issues with. Well, it's people have been burned by it before in a lot of ways, right? Because the other two largest eSports in League of Legends and StarCraft 2, I guess you can make the case that CS:GO is bigger than StarCraft almost now. Yeah. But is dominated by one region, right? And a lot of people kind of get tired of it, and so I think that they're trying to,
And it's kind of people actually will remember a tournament and how awesome the tournament was. Like they'll say a tournament's good just based on the quality of the matches, which is kind of the funny thing. I think a lot of people do it without realizing it. It's like if there's a tournament with amazing matches all throughout, they suddenly have great memories of that tournament. And think that was a great event. I love that they put that on when. Maybe the event wasn't like as better than like TI. Like people look back on TI4 and think, yeah, it was okay because if TI had more like amazing, incredible matches all throughout, had a great epic grand finals, people would be like, that was an awesome TI.
Best event ever. Yeah.
I was talking to Victor, the owner from Liquid, and I was like telling him like, look, people fucking love the Summit. The Summit was a good tournament. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'll talk it up, but if we didn't have that finals, I think if we had a boring 3-0 stomp finals, I think people would be like, yeah, the Summit was good.
I completely agree.
It was fun, but it wasn't that good a tournament. But the fact we had a best of 5 between DK and EG. Go 5 games, have an epic base race with a tiny at the end, like that is the final you dream about. Yeah. So
as the guy that was at the viewing party, people were very excited for that finals.
I mean, it wasn't TI3 grand finals, but it was pretty close, and that's something which people will look back on an event and be like, you get good matches like that, and people like suddenly we have top posts on Reddit saying how great of an event the summit was.
Finals kind of define the event.
I mean, not to talk down the summit by any means. Like, but I think a lot of how people remember and perceive events is based on how epic the matches are.
Yeah. Right.
Not to say, I mean, you could have 2 Chinese teams and maybe epic matches. Didn't happen at
There's something to be saade for that nationalism, though, where you're sort of cheering for your country more than just your team. And
I honestly think there's a lot of people that even if the games were relatively exciting, it wouldn't be as exciting for them if it was like a
I think there's a lot of value added in having teams from 2 different regions, just because that you're not only cheering for your favorite team, but you're also kind of cheering for your country at the same time, and a lot of people really get behind that.
Yeah. Right. From ESL's point of view, whether it's 1 or 2 Chinese teams, they get that Eastern audience, they get that whole East versus West storyline. If the Chinese are still playing as well as they are, chances are that team will go far in the tournament. So.
Yeah,
I think they made the right choice.
Yeah, so we'll see. It comes up in October, 9th through 10th. So I think it's going to be a similar format: 2 days, 8 teams. Stands to reason they'll do single elim again, but I
like single elim. I think it's exciting.
The qualifiers are interesting too. They're doing an online qualifier, then the top 4 from the online qualifiers move into the invited teams, and then there's like another round 2 of qualifiers where the invited teams play the top open bracket teams. So there is actually a pretty significant chance of mobility for teams to at least have a chance to make it into the final event. So there could be that crazy pub team that finds some pocket strat that wins, and they end up at the main event.
The crazy thing is 3 and 8 teams. Like who are the 3 and 8 teams after EG? Who is it?
There's a
you've got
Genius's Navi and A.
Navi, of course.
And then there's an invite open bracket for the 4th spot.
Yeah.
So EG, Navi and A, and SNA, it looks like are just
they've already been invited into the 2nd round, and they'll play off against the top 4 of the completely open online.
Now, is it so? It's just North America. There's going to be no.
There's a qualifier for EU and America online, which is totally open. Any team can play. The top 4 of those get mixed in with the invited teams for the next stage.
Well, I'm
in the
saying
qualifier.
for North America, it's separate. It's like.
Yeah, they would be.
Does it say North America, or does it just say...
It says North American.
Okay.
So it's like South American teams.
Usually when people write North America, they mean the Americas. Yeah. But, I mean, why would they just say, sorry, South America, you guys can't play?
I mean, they said SEA you can't play.
Well, a lot of these tournaments, I mean, maybe it may actually be part of it, because a lot of these tournaments bring the...
I guess it's possible.
Part of winning the qualifiers is that, ESL would maybe bring you to the event. I don't know what their deal is. But if you're from South America, they may be like, look, that's not what the qualifier is for. So
okay, that's a good point.
It's something to clarify with the
SEA is a little different though, because it's like different region, different time zone, different servers. Like it adds a whole nother leg into the mix. SEA or South America, it's like similar time zones. It's like it's kind of a different beast. I think. I don't know if that's a totally fair analogy, but. We'll see. That's a good point, though. Good to bring up. The last thing we want to talk about, though, are a little bit of Ace Alliance. There were some pretty decent media articles that popped out. Scandal. Well, now you're making me feel shitty about titling it as scandal, because it's scandalous. It really started with the Kelly Milky's tweet saying, it's really a shame that this organization is having problems paying out. Essentially, the teams that were in the first 2 seasons of WPC had to foot the bill for travel costs and all the other stuff.
The first season paid out apart from DK.
Yes. The second season is what Kelly was talking about in terms of they haven't been reimbursed yet. And apparently the big issue is that a lot of employees that work for Ace have quit. And now we're having cat. I think we're being invaded by felines here. Uh-oh. Oh no, our studio's falling apart here, guys.
The curtain's moving on its... I was looking at the screen and the curtain was moving on its own. I'm like, wait, what? Oh.
Yeah.
Kitten problems.
So there's... what's interesting about this topic of discussion is really we've talked about the idea of a players union, right? That comes up all the time whenever there's a scandal when somebody doesn't get paid.
Is this really a players union though?
Sort of.
It's a team union.
It started under the guise of being a players union. We're helping players, they enforce contracts. It sort of started as this good thing. The problem now is they're just not beholden to anyone. It's a similar KESPA issue.
It's a players union created by the owners. It's like if all of the CEOs of big corporations got together and were like, you know what, we really need to help the situation for our workers. We should all come together and make money off of it.
So some of the things that Ace does...
I mean, a union needs to make money, though.
I agree, but it's kind of weird that it's not actually by the players. It's by the organizations for the players, and they call it a players.
Most Dota players aren't very business.
They're not very suave. I agree. It's just it doesn't really feel like a...
So some of the things that Ace actually does, though, they have anti-poaching laws, so that you can't just say, hey, Burning, you should come play on our team. And he says, okay, cool. They actually enforce that. And we saw that with the eHome thing, where they put out the embargo where you can't scrim, which is good and it's bad.
That was a weird response.
Exactly.
I feel the response did not match whatever.
Exactly. So it's a good intention, but they're not beholden to anyone. They are the ultimate authority. So they say, no, this is the penalty. This is the price we set. There's no appeals. There's no contests. And eHome basically gets boned in their...
Normally, you do something like that, you get fined. maybe your team gets suspended. Like, well, I guess that's kind of how they saw it. Like, because eHome, I don't think were also allowed like in ACE tournaments at the time. Not that there were many.
I believe not. Yeah.
At that time, there weren't many Chinese-run tournaments by ACE or Perfect World, but
right. So that's an example of where ACE is sort of it's the right idea, but executed poorly, and maybe.
And it was kind of a personal vendetta as well. There,
yes, exactly. Well, that's the other problem. They can give preferential treatment again because they have this end-all be-all of power, and they can decide when they want to enforce contracts, when they don't, and there's no real way to work around it. The other problem, which starts as a good idea, is unified tournament rules. They have a set sort of format of how tournaments have to run. They have minimum prize pools. You can't run amateur tournaments. You have to have a certain amount, and they say basically, well, it's bad for the scene in general to have a lot of small tournaments. We only want big ones. The problem now, that stymies growth for the amateur scene, and some people have said that they're responsible for the scene stuff growing more stagnant. It's more in that the argument is that it could be growing a lot more than it is now. So maybe it's starting to grow.
Things can always be better. There's always room for improvement, I guess. I think that's a bit critical.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the other, you have to pay them a fee if you want to run a tournament in China. You have to pay them a security fee of sorts. I don't know exactly what that does, but they can also control what tournaments players play in. If you're playing in WPC, you don't get to play in other tournaments if you're a Chinese team.
If the players actually got the benefits from this, like if they were getting the money, well, I guess they're getting the money for like contracts and trades and stuff. They're getting money.
They're being protected from all these other bad tournament organizers that'll come in and not pay them.
It's like the mafia, though. It's like, pay us money for protection, and we're going to do all of these things to make sure other people can't compete with the people that are already paying us money in terms of big tournament organizers, big teams that are already set up because they don't, push the amateur scene at all.
Yeah.
It's very, like...
There's more, Brian. They take a portion of all the Chinese stream revenue. That's why a lot of Chinese players don't stream, because ACE takes a significant portion of their ad rev. So they're de-incentivized to stream much more than we see out here in the West. Another issue, and I think the biggest problem is that they're really beholden to one super long sponsor, one large sponsor, the Jean Grey Properties. I have trouble pronouncing it, but it sounds similar to the
the WPC sponsor.
The Jean Grey. It actually sounds a lot like Jean Grey if you have an English accent. It's a giant real estate conglomerate that has a lot of money. But the issue is they have all the money, so they can sort of bully ACE around a little bit and say, we want it this way, and if you won't do it, we won't give you the money. And to some degree, ACE is sort of beholden to that. So where the big issue with what Kelly was tweeting out has come about is a lot of the ACE employees were unhappy with that arrangement and quit. So now the Jean Grey company is forced to pick up all the slack and do all the legwork there, and they've lost a lot of the point of contacts that they've had with the West, and that's supposed to be where a lot of this confusion is. Supposedly they're going to pay out the money that's owed for Season 2 of WPC in August. We're at the tail end of August and haven't heard anything else about it, so maybe we'll have the conclusion of this story next week. They claim that the DK stuff has been paid out and it's a tax issue. That's one of those he said, she said, there's only so much. I don't have.
It's just like you hear about like some of the players like Lamb and Bring. I know especially with Lamb, like when I was at TI and talking to their manager, 7-1, he was like, "Look, right now my job is just trying to follow up with all these organizers, get these players paid. Like Lamb's retiring, like he wants to split, like he wants to just go his way, but he's owed money from these tournaments, these prize pools. And it's not like he's desperately. I don't know what his situation is, but at the end of the day, it's like you just want to tie up those loose ends and then you can move on and. Live your life,
it's
do
just
whatever.
The principle as well. I mean, come on, you worked hard for that money, man, so it deserves to be in your pocket. But I guess sort of to wrap up this discussion, we constantly go back to the idea of a players' union, and this is a fair example of I think maybe we're not ready for it unless it's a Valve sanctioned sort of a thing.
It's like a corporate
maybe a lot of ways not to go about it. It's like you were sort of saying, it has to be for the players by the players, but it's sort of not what the players should be doing because they're players. They focus on playing.
Well, so that's why
weird balance that you have to achieve.
If you look in other competitive sports or traditional sports, the players' unions are usually headed up by, or the players' associations, are usually headed up by former players. There usually is a one-head spokesman who is a current player, and he kind of speaks for everyone in some ways.
Right.
But like the heads of those organizations are oftentimes retired players or older players that have been around for a while and are like maybe not playing every day.
And players also have personal managers as well, which is kind of different to where you look at esports, where the manager isn't looking out for the individual as much as the team.
Right. And to be fair, none of these teams have everyone in esports is generally under 30 at least.
Yeah.
and none of these player organizations have anybody that is like younger than 30.
Yeah,
heading
and
it's usually people that have been around for 20 years.
Yeah, this is
and nobody in Dota has been around 20 years yet.
Yeah,
Dota hasn't.
This is the first time we're really seeing like people legit retiring, saying, "Okay, I had a good run. I've won some significant money. Now I can retire, become a coach, become a manager." And really, until now, we've seen none of that. People that have retired from esports don't really retire into esports. They retire into the real world and say, "Esports sucks. I'm going to get a real job. I'm tired of working my ass off, not making any money." Right. It's not a real retirement in the context of staying relative in the scene. So maybe a few years down the road when we have more retired players, sort of like you're talking about, that could head this up, it's a possibility, but we're not ready, boys. I just don't think we're ready for it.
Yeah. We just need to not... I mean, I agree that we're not ready, but I think we're in a situation where it's small enough that we can be okay and the players cannot be taken advantage of because of how much transparency there is right now, for the most part. Because if you don't pay somebody, someone's going to talk about it and say, you're not fucking paying me.
It's like a weird transparency where on the back end things are very transparent. People talk a lot, and you kind of know who the blacklisted people are. You know, reputation means a lot in this industry.
I think, well, everyone like within the organizers, the players, people like us kind of know, but a lot of the time the community doesn't get
that's sort of what I'm getting at. Yeah, there's like back end transparency, which isn't really transparency, but you know when you're an insider, you kind of know
everyone kind of talks.
You know who's sketchy, who isn't, who's paid their debts, who's owed debts. You kind of have a pretty good handle on that kind of stuff.
I've just heard so much shit about Ace and Kespa, and it just seems like it starts with this idea of we're going to protect these players and give them some type of professional like backbone, and it just ends up being another way for organizers to make money and stifle competition.
I defend Ace a little bit. I mean, I hear bad things about Kesper. Like, even recently, there was a StarCraft 2 tournament. Destiny ran it, tried to maybe get some Kesper players, and Kesper just, like, gave him, like, a big, fuck you, my dick's bigger than yours. But Ace, we worked with them. Great. These guys are easy to work with. They were very helpful. They helped make the Summit Chinese Qualifier work. Talked to Andre, the guy who kind of admin Starlighter, and he made a post saying, like, look, when we first started doing Chinese Qualifier, I was kind of intimidated and heard about this big, scary organization, Ace, and it's like, turns out, they actually like made our whole Chinese qualifier for Starlight possible. It was great. Like they are very cooperative at times and are very helpful with some.
And they've also done a lot to grow the top end of the Chinese scene. I mean, we're seeing these really big tournaments now, like these 450K tournaments. Outside of the international, we haven't had that many larger tournaments here in the West. So they have done good to grow the top end. Have they done good to grow the bottom end? That's a little more debatable.
Yeah, like I said, they can be helpful with a lot of that stuff, and that's good. But I feel like that's the kind of stuff they should be doing anyway. Like, I don't think like it's a big moral imperative they've been doing. It's like, oh, they helped us not. They didn't shit all over us. That's great. You know?
I think Ace is also in a weird spot now because Perfect World are kind of filling a similar role. It's kind of like what's Perfect World's role now and what's Ace's role, because a lot of the new tournaments coming up are being kind of run by Perfect World, and Perfect World don't have to listen to Ace really. Like they're the Chinese distributor for the game. They have they're the Chinese Valve for Dota 2 in a lot of ways. So in some, Ace may kind of actually fall off a bit in the next year or so because of Perfect World's involvement. Whereas in the past, it was these like G League, G1 League, these tournaments had nothing to do with Perfect World. But from what I hear, Perfect World are going to be a lot more involved running tournaments of their own, which is basically like, well, you don't really need Ace so
I think a lot really hinges on the payments for WPC Season 2. I think if they pay out at the end of this month or, soon after and everything's clear, then, maybe there is a case that they lost a lot of employees and they had to go back and redo a lot of the logistics, and that was a significant bottleneck, and they're clear. If that money never ends up getting paid out, then I think Ace will probably just sort of disappear, and a lot of people will get screwed out of a lot of money. So right now it's in that middle point where it can go either way, and we'll have the conclusion.
And you've seen that with like Western tournaments, like like ESL for a while owed money from a long time back. Same with ESWC, the French tournament. Like when they made their come back and renounce it, everyone's like, wait a second, I'm still owed money from a Dota tournament back in 2007.
ESL was so notorious for that in Heroes of Newerth because teams would fluctuate so much. It's just like you talk to players, they're like, all right, I've been on 5 different teams, I'm owed money from all these different. It was a nightmare, and trying to figure out who was owed what when the teams moved around. It was
not that ESL bad people, like they're not.
It was difficult. Yeah, it was just a rough situation.
International taxes can be complicated.
Yes, taxes are complicated. But all right, guys, that wraps up part 1 of In the Studio, episode 1 of our second season. We'll have a short break, and then coming on back, we're looking at roster changes. Following TI, and Fear will be joining us to talk about his return to Evil Geniuses and his take on some of these new teams. Stay with us. We'll be back. Woo.